it wasn't just a couple companies overseeing everything. You had territories in the Northwest, you had territories in the Northeast, in the Midwest, in the Mid-South, up in, in the West, on the West Coast. You had all of these different territories that were run by different promoters. And unfortunately, WWE, Vince, when his dad sold him the company, Vince is like, oh, his dad had all these working agreements with all of these territories that, hey, we won't try to buy you guys out. You guys are free to run your stuff. We're just going to do our stuff. And, we might reach out to you for some agreements to have some of your stars appear on our programming, things like that. But when Vince Jr. bought out the company from his dad, he immediately started gobbling up all the promotions. He wanted it to be just WWE being the only show in town. And to the point where, it was forbidden essentially to ever, it was a pipe dream to ever think that, WWE, they'll never partner with TNA. They'll never partner with, WCW or ECW or anything like that. And there were times where Vince, back in the mid-90s, would throw like ECW a crumb and have some of the ECW guys appear on WWE programming and vice versa. But he never did it with WCW. WCW was always competition to him, and he never partnered with WCW. And again, he never partnered with TNA either. He again, would allow some from time to time, like, hey, like when AJ Styles, who was a big TNA wrestler, came to WWE, and they were doing that. They were getting ready to let AJ be in their TNA Hall of Fame. Vince allowed them to let him be there for it. But he would never partner with them. But now with Paul Levesque being the main driving force behind WWE creatively speaking, and his friend, who was a fellow Click member, and I'll get into more factions on a future episode, but known as the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. If you're, again, wrestling fan, I hope you would be if you're listening to this podcast. His real name is Michael Hickenbottom, so you can kind of see why he went with Shawn Michaels instead of Michael Hickenbottom. But Shawn Michael, he currently is the main driving force behind the NXT brand. And NXT recently, over the last year, has been partnering up with TNA to the point that you have TNA wrestlers appearing on NXT programming.